Hello, everybody. OMG. Welcome to Empowered Conversations. I am through the roof excited about my guest today. This is something so fervently that I hold passionately within my own heart that I ache for in this world. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell you how we met and just introduce you everything about Rachel Hatteberg Walt. So, if you are a parent, I can't think of anything more important than raising conscious, self-aware, and kind children, which is why this next episode of Empowered Conversations is so relevant, especially with what we've been going through in the world the past several years. Rachel is the creator and founder of Craftingood. That's a shared G. Through her Craftingood platform, she developed a roadmap to raise compassionate, self-aware, and kind children, your own unique way. Rachel is the essence of powerful positivity, creativity, and authenticity. Rachel is a wife and a mom of 3 children, I think all under the age of 5. She has a background in holistic health coaching, community organization, and she is a speech-language pathologist. She reads, collects experiences, and ripples kindness. If you need her, you can find her watering her dead tomato plants. Oh, I could talk some about that. Dancing in her living room on Friday nights, or posted up at an Indian buffet. OMG, Indian food is some of my most favorite food. Currently, she is on a mission to empower families and guilty, sacrificial moms like herself to use creativity, self-compassion as their most powerful tool for raising kind kids, having fun, and changing the world. All right, everybody. Without further ado, drum roll, please help me in welcoming Rachel Hatteberg Walt. Whoop, whoop, girl. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You, oh my God, you and me both. I was running around like a chicken with its head cut off today. And it was like, am I nervous? Am I nervous? I mean, I've been so excited about this interview. I was shaking. I've been shaking. I literally texted like a couple days ago when I, put out the announcement, just about every single mom that I could think of, especially with young kids, text or message them through Facebook. OMG, I'm interviewing the most amazing woman. She's got this Craftingood. You got to tune in, and I was getting all these, I'll be on live. If I can't watch live, thank you for thinking of me. I'll watch the replay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
This is so
we've got
amazing.
to come together.
Yes, we must. These yes. Conversations are so important. And, I want to tell everybody how we met. So another good girlfriend of ours, Jennifer Hurwitz Weintraub, has a podcast called Doing Relationships Right, in which I was, I interviewed her, and I had seen her podcast where she interviewed you 2 or 3 months ago. Can't remember. I was at the gym.
Couple months ago. Yep.
Yeah, it's where I like to listen to podcasts and sometimes when I'm not listening to music. And I was just overwhelmed. I was just like literally having an out of body experience listening to the conversation you girls were having. And I shared it that day. And then I wound up having, and what's infuriating to me about Facebook and algorithms is I'm sharing it. I'm so through the roof, jumping out of my skin, excited about what I'm sharing. But unless you follow the person or subscribe to the person or are friends with the person that I was sharing, it's not likely to show up on your news feed. Right. And so I'm not sure if anybody saw that interview, but I interviewed Jen recently and was talking to her about, she knew that I'd shared, the podcast with you guys. And she's like, oh my God, you got to reach out to her. You should have her on your podcast. I'm like, thank you. Yes. And thank you, please and thank you. So,
I was thrilled when I saw you reached out. You have such a contagious energy that I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna blow something up.
We're gonna explode." Absolutely. So, oh my gosh. So let's just get to the meat of it. So,
let's get to it.
tell me, Rachel, so just a little bit about your background and what you've lived, gone through that just
Yeah.
like this epiphany that hit you that again led you to where you are today and what you're doing for us in the world.
Yeah. Well, like most lives, it hasn't been a straight line to where I am right now. It's been more of a jigsaw puzzle, I
Right.
think is probably a good picture. I've been gathering pieces, and then I think finally now they're fitting. More puzzles pieces are fitting together.
Yes.
But it started, growing up, I always had a sense of justice, of things need to be right. I've always wanted to serve the community and had plenty of opportunities growing up to do that through high school, college, and then I selected speech language pathology as my career and love it.
Hmm.
Connecting with patients and families and really making a difference in my daily career has been a huge blessing. I started feeling a little bit of a shift in that mission once I started having kids because I stepped back from my full time career and no longer was my career my main focus of where I was going to pour my energy. Now, this budding family is coming. I had a rough transition to motherhood, I would say. My husband and I had just moved to Chicago. We didn't have much family around. He was in a business school program, had a demanding job. I felt very isolated and alone. I had postpartum depression. The baby had colic. And so we were a little bit of a fiery mix there for a
Hmm.
while. And it took us a while to get on our feet and to get the rhythm. My confidence was shot. I growing up I always thought I was going to be a mom. I always knew it. I thought I'd be a
Yeah.
good mom. And then here I was like, "Woo, maybe I was wrong about this," right? Because our culture says, "Oh, once you have the baby, it's all about the baby. It's not about the mama anymore."
Right.
Not any transitional support. I did receive some holistic support for my postpartum depression, but I needed something more aggressive. And
Right.
I didn't reach out because I felt weird. I felt bad. I didn't even recognize I had postpartum depression when I had it until one of my
Mhm.
best friends pointed it out to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, so this isn't motherhood. This is like depression. This is anxiety. Oh, like this actually makes me feel better. So
Right.
I recovered from that and proceeded to have two more children.
Hmm.
And in the meantime, I had stepped back from my speech therapy career and had added some more like tech startups. So I worked for a family activities aggregate in Chicago called Parachute Kids that I loved. And I got to know the founder really well. And she was such a great example of a powerful founder woman and creative and folding in all these wonderful opinions from people and really authentic. So I thought,
Yeah.
ooh, like what a great example. I really like that. I've always felt myself to be a leader and been
Hmm.
creative all through these other activities I've done. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put that in the back of my mind once I get through this like next postpartum with my third kid. And
So you
so
experienced that after each child?
no, actually, the postpartum depression was with the
Okay.
first kid. I started
Okay.
getting some symptoms when I was pregnant with my third, but I reached out to my provider and I was like, I feel this coming and I ain't going to deal with it like I did the first
Gotcha.
time. And we took care of it medically, which was a blessing because I did
Hmm.
not have it with the third kid. And in the middle of that, while I was pregnant with the third kid, we moved back to North Carolina from Chicago. And it was just natural for me to take a year off of speech therapy or a tech startup career or any other job. So I stayed home with my third child and just the creativity wheels started spinning.
Right.
So I thought, okay, we had this wonderful experience living in the city of Chicago, and now we're in the suburbs of Charlotte. It's different. I want my kids to maintain their curiosity for their world, for people that look and act and speak differently than them, from all sorts of backgrounds. And I
Yes.
didn't want to lose that when we were in a more segregated area. And so that's where the idea for Craftingood came in. It was like, oh, it started off as a subscription box company where
Mm.
I would send kind crafts to people. I thought, well, subscription box model is just so convenient for families. And at that time, I had these little kids that were 3, 2, and 1, or 3,
Right.
2, and 0 at that point.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get out into the community and do any of the organizational events because a lot of the events like soup kitchens or builds or something to that effect, they all need to be older for their safety and
Right.
just for general common sense.
Yeah.
But that leaves a gap, right? Because we know that little kids start to be altruistic at a very, very young age. Under 2, they are acting in kindness. Maybe we don't
Mhm.
recognize it as
Oh,
much because they
yeah.
might have a tantrum right afterwards, but they're
Right.
acting in kindness. And that is getting lost a lot of times. So that's where it started. And then as it's evolved, I added not just the subscription box, but I added just the single kit where somebody could just buy one activity. I did community events and started doing workshops and love that. And so now I feel like it's growing more towards workshops,
Yeah.
events, activities
Mhm.
to like, as you said, to customize the path towards growing a compassionate family. So maybe a
Mhm.
subscription box is a super easy way for one family to do it. Maybe another family is really busy or already has a craft closet and doesn't need a craft coming to them. And so maybe one-on-one coaching is available,
Right.
or a workshop, or a compassion self-care circle that I'm going to start here in the next couple months. So I really want people to feel supported
Mhm.
in making a shift towards putting the focus on compassion and kindness in the family, because
Right.
you know
That's where it's going.
modern life is, oh, what grades are you getting, what school are you going to, what accolades can you brag about, what sports team won this weekend. Modern life, modern motherhood is more like that.
Mhm.
And we know that if a kid has the skills, these social skills of
Yes.
awareness, consciousness, self-awareness, awareness of
Emotion
their emotions, how to
Emotional
identify,
intelligence.
how to identify them, how to manage those things and move that
Mhm.
energy through. They do better in academics. They do better with
Absolutely.
all these other things they do. So that kind of made my bells ring like, oh, well, we can have our cake and eat it too. We can
Right.
teach kids how to be kind, and also they will help their neighbors, and also they will make good grades and feel invested in their communities and include people that might not look and behave or act like them. So it
Mhm.
just feels very like a seed instead of
Thank you.
something else,
Yeah. Invested in
So
themselves. I
right,
mean, that
right. And
yes.
so and that's how there's another shift coming in the company, which has been really
Yeah.
interesting. So at first it was the subscription box dedicated to the family. And then my own personal transformation happened this year where I put my self-care and my self-compassion as the priority in my family
Mhm.
and saw a huge transformation in my parenting and in my marriage and in my friendships and relationships in my community as well. So, as you said, I'm a speech therapist. I haven't
Yes.
totally dropped that career.
Mhm.
And I was working at a hospital at the onset of the pandemic last year. And that was back when we had no idea what kind of bear we were wrestling
Right.
and where was it and how we were going to transmit it and bring it home to our families. And it was very stressful to be in healthcare at that
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
And I worked 2 days a week. And the other days I was worried about going to work. And then the days I was there, I was worried about bringing COVID home. And my
Right.
husband was home working,
Mhm.
taking care of our 3 preschoolers by himself. And it was just not sustainable,
Right.
you
Right.
know? So I said, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then I need an hour. When I get home from the hospital, I need an hour where no one
Mhm.
talks to me. I got to take a hot shower. I got to clean my clothes. I've got to meditate. I've got to
Mhm.
journal. I've got to process my stuff before I can re-emerge into the family. And so my husband was obviously supportive of that, of course.
Yeah.
And it started the snowball effect of self-care. I mean, I
Yes.
grew up like every, buddy else where moms don't have needs and you sacrifice everything for the good of your family. And a good mom is one that only serves everyone else and
Right.
doesn't
Right.
doesn't consider herself, which
Right.
to a certain extent, of course, we're caregivers,
Right.
but at the detriment of
Mhm.
whole people's lives, right? I mean, how many times have you heard of women that
Mhm.
have kids that leave the house and then they're like, "Who am I?"
Right.
Right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's that kind of thing. So I just little by little started adding more meditation, daily walks, drinking water, just doing little things, not expensive things, not going on girls' weekends or anything, but little things
Right.
every day.
And girls' weekends are great and okay, and they're necessary.
Fantastic. And I
But
love them.
what I hear you saying is that you are being what you want to teach, or you're being that role model of what you want to implement and infiltrate
Exactly.
into your little ones, so that they grow up knowing that, if it's the whole concept of being on the plane. Why do they tell you to put your mask on first? It's
Exactly.
like, as I guess, and see, I don't have children, okay, but I have my own reasons for this concept to be infiltrated into every human being in the world.
Well, because you're
And
worthy. You're just
oh yeah,
worthy.
right, yeah, and
Right? Like, we don't have to earn that
right,
kind of care for ourselves. It doesn't matter if we
because
have
we're
kids
here.
or not, or pets or
Yes,
careers or
yes,
anything. Like, you are on this planet with your
yes,
own unique purpose, and you deserve to find out what that is and
absolutely.
live it in any
Mm-hmm,
structure you want to, right?
mm-hmm,
So, yeah, I
mm-hmm.
mean, it's not just caregivers. This is a
Right.
universal thing for every human being. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just, and I've always had that swarming around in my head, like, oh, I feel pretty confident and I love myself good enough,
Right, right,
whatever.
right. Good enough. Yeah.
Good enough, I'm
Right.
getting by. But I was
Mm-hmm.
also so short tempered with my kids. So here I am, and I'm a fiery Aries. So,
Mm-hmm.
none of that is going to, or all of that is not going to go away just with some self care. But
Right.
um, but here I was like, oh, let's do kind crafts. And then I'm going to yell at you and not be patient with you and slam doors and do all this stuff. And it's like, well, what message are they actually taking with them? Right?
Exactly. They do what you do, not what you say.
They do what you do, not what you
Mm-hmm.
say. So
They
then
emulate.
that's when the light bulb went off for me last year. I thought, okay, so typically moms, caregivers, people, you feel guilty if you're not giving your whole self to your career or your animals or your human kids or your
Mm-hmm.
nieces and nephews, whoever you serve. You feel
Mm-hmm.
guilty when you take time for yourself away from them, right? But here I was like, wait a second. If I'm taking my time away from them by meditating, by walking, by drinking water, by taking a deep breath, by journaling, by reading, whatever your self care modality is that you
Yeah.
love that feeds
Mm-hmm.
you, they see that. So
Yes.
they know how to take care of themselves.
Thank you.
They see that. So they know, oh, mommy is a more calm mommy. She's more loving. She's more fun. She's compassionate. She doesn't yell at us as much when she does all this stuff. Like,
Right.
oh, okay. I mean, my 4-year-old already is like, Mom, I was so mad at boys, but I went outside and took a deep breath. And I was like, yes,
I love
okay. Like,
that.
being mad is okay. Being mad is
Yeah.
okay. It's how we move that energy through our bodies, right?
Thank you.
So it's a mindset shift. I mean, it's
Yes.
not this easy thing where moms are going to watch our show and then say, "Oh, perfect. I'm going
Oh
to go
yeah.
prioritize myself now." Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
But it is, I hope people can take away with the fact of like, you are doing this for your kids too. It's not just because it feels good for you. You are doing it because you are going to live and embody your purpose for being here.
Thank you.
You are going to live and embody kindness and compassion and inclusivity. And also, it gives you all this space for creative possibilities and opportunities that you can't consider when you are stressed out, when you're running a schedule, when you're doing laundry and cooking and doing all of these things that, yes, must happen. But if you are only doing that and you're stressed and you're burned out, which research has shown us,
Mm-hmm.
especially after last year, that
Mm-hmm.
moms are so burned out and stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are like that, you can't see creative possibilities. So the way you serve your family is going to be limited. The way you serve your community is going to be limited because you're you're so constricted because you're so stressed.
Right.
So it really is a mindset shift, but once you can kind of make that mindset shift, I mean, the doors and the hearts and the minds just open.
Oh my gosh, girl. Like you do not know what you do not know until you're made
Right.
aware that it exists. Yeah,
Exactly.
a fish cannot describe the water in which it swims unless it's made aware that it actually is indeed
Is
in
in
the water.
water.
And
Exactly.
that's you're so wholeheartedly what I absolutely love about what you've created. And we'll get into more of some of the like the actual steps and modalities that you're
Yeah.
teaching and inspiring in others. But it's like, imagine in my mind and my thinking, but for my own reasons of wanting this world to be a better place. And how does the world become a better place? Through what I embody, what I make
Yes.
a conscious decision of being, of how I show up. And it's not about being perfect. It's like you said, like women aren't going to watch this and go, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to put myself first, because it does take that right mindset. But what we're, planting the seeds. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna do one thing today, and then
Hmm.
maybe in a week you're doing 2 to 3 things that are
Hmm.
embodying that self-awareness, that realizing the self-worth, and then that's what you're showing to your children or others around the world. And imagine, my big thing is, we talked about this earlier, is the implementation of what you, in the way in which you're teaching it, should be implemented within every single school system around the world. This needs to go global. You need to be on Oprah, just like you and Jen discussed.
Come on.
And it's like, imagine what our world could be like if more children were growing up with the concept of this self-value and self-worth, and what they and kindness towards others, and inclusivity, and what that would do as they grow up into adults, and then what they as adults would be then going out into the world. There would be a lot less victim mentality, a lot less, like you said earlier, something happening to me instead of through me, and learning your own unique gifts and your own special place in this world.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because every single one of us have come to Earth for a purpose. And I think people get confused when people talk about purpose, like, oh,
Yeah.
purpose, but I'm
Right.
just an accountant. Well, no, you're not.
Right.
You are empathetic. You
Mhm.
may be sensitive, or maybe you're really intuitive, or maybe you're really gregarious and welcoming.
Yes.
Those things are your purpose. And how can you bring your purpose and embody those things fully into any area of your life, right? And I love that you brought up perfectionism,
Right.
because our society is so obsessed with perfectionism, and it's really a fear-based concept.
Right.
It's a fear-based concept of what happens if I am not perfect. And the
Mhm.
beauty of prioritizing your self-worth and your self-kindness and self-care is that you embrace imperfection because you're authentic, and there are so many opportunities for teaching in those moments where you've screwed up. I mean, this happens to me on a daily. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I think I'm trying to think of one recently with Greta was, you really hurt my feelings. And I didn't think I did, but maybe I did. I'm not hurt. And she's obviously feeling that. I'm like, I hurt your feelings. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm so sorry. Mommy screw up too. I'm
Yeah.
not perfect.
Mm,
Sometimes I hurt other people's feelings, even when I really try hard not to.
mm.
But the thing is, I'm really sorry. And I'm going to try better next time. And how can I help you know that I didn't mean what I said, or whatever it happened to be?
Right.
And she sees that, and then she uses it with her brothers or her friends. And
Yeah.
so it's like, do I want to hurt my kids' feelings? No, I don't. Like, I'd rather not do that. But I'm a human, and I'm going to give myself some grace. First of all, own up to my mistake, and then verbalize it and talk to them. I don't think we give kids enough credit for how much they know and see and hear and are aware of too, just by themselves. And so I'm going to respect her and say, yeah, okay, you're right. I hurt your feelings, instead of saying, ah, you're fine. You're fine.
Right.
That wasn't that big of a
Right.
deal, right?
Oh,
Because to
thank
her, it was a
you.
big deal. Her feelings were
Yeah.
hurt.
Because think about that. Then owning your adult years, or even,
Hmm.
teenage years, you were taught that it was no big deal, that your feelings, they were invalidated. So then you're
Right.
carrying that throughout your entire life. And then, yeah, imagine
Yeah.
what that opens up for us.
Right. Well, and then we have human beings, we have grown-ups that
Right.
know how they feel,
Hmm.
can say how they feel. They can
Yes.
apologize for things when they screw up. I mean, I screw up all the time. We're human beings.
Right. Right.
That's what we do.
Doesn't
I'm
mean
not
you're a bad person.
striving. No,
Right.
I'm not striving to be perfect. I'm striving to be better than I was yesterday, to learn, to grow, to evolve, to expand, right? So that's what I want to show my kids. And,
Yes.
does it mean less minutes with them? Maybe, but the minutes that we are together is quality, it's
Quality.
rich, it's
Right.
healthy, it's stable. It's not this volatile thing where, okay, cool, I'm with you for 12 hours a day or whatever, but I'm yelling at you 3/4 of the time because I'm so stressed and overworked and not sleeping and not feeding myself well and not having friends and not having a creative outlet. And it's just you and I'm resentful and I'm angry. Like, no, they don't want to be around that either, right?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and the beauty about this stuff is it doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to cost time. You can go on a refreshing outdoor walk for 5 minutes, or if you can't walk, if you're not even safe in your neighborhood, you can sit maybe with a window open, taking some deep breaths. I mean, that's all we
Yes.
need to do is just breathe
Yes.
around here.
Right.
So,
Right.
so it's accessible, you know.
Yeah. And again, to think to take a point of what you just said, what that creates when we are not living, based on that self-awareness and that authenticity, or that, understanding our emotions, is it creates autopilot. And
Oh,
then
totally.
we're
Yeah.
growing up and we're just on this autopilot. We're doing what we think, we should be doing based upon what people have been telling us all of our life, instead of living our authentic truth.
Mhm.
And then our lives are shaped by that. And then we're in victim mentality. And then it's, oh, this happened to me and that happened to me. And this, and I can't, that, the I can't, become such a part of that, of the mindset and the living.
The
And
mindset. The stories we tell ourselves and our thoughts are so
yes,
impactful. I mean, our thoughts literally turn to things. And if we can teach our kids, like, whoa, 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 was that thought true? What you said sounded to me like an anxious thought. Like, let's examine that for a minute. Let's look at our thoughts. You're not your thoughts. So
no.
let's look at that thought and choose if we're going to take that with us or if we can just,
Hmm.
put that over to the side. And
Hmm.
so we're working a lot with that with my oldest because he's been doing virtual kindergarten all year. And it's been a real struggle to kind of find a flow. And I think finally now that they went back, we were kind of getting in a groove. But there for a while, it was a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of unknown, a lot of, discomfort. And
Hmm.
we had to sit with it. Like sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
right? Like sometimes we're just going to have to sit with it. This is uncomfortable, but I also know that it's not forever. I
Right.
also know that these anxious thoughts are not who I am. So let's take a step back from those and look at those. And so if we can teach our kids even that, like you are the essence inside of your body that is looking at the thoughts. You're not these anxious thoughts. Everybody can get in anxious thought patterns.
Yeah.
But if we can teach our kids by doing it ourselves and talking out loud, I mean, that's one of the strategies I use a lot is like, okay, mama's getting worked up. I feel it in my stomach and it's
Hmm.
rising up to my chest. I'm
Yeah.
feeling an anxious thought. I'm having all these thoughts go in my head like, oh gosh, because you're not getting your shoes on, I can't go make dinner and I'm going to be late because I have a meeting to hop on. And all these what ifs are going through my head. So
Hmm.
I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to go outside and take a deep breath and I will be back with you to help you with your shoes in a minute. And I'll
Right.
go outside and take a deep
Right.
breath. And, you know, narrating what's going on in my mind might help them realize, oh, okay, well, mommy deals with that too. Or, oh, okay, if I have this feeling in my body, it might mean this. So
Hmm.
I think if we are living authentically, we don't have to be buttoned up and say, oh, I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Everything's
everything's
fine. I
fabulous.
feel
Oh.
great.
Right.
Instead,
Right.
say, whew, I'm not feeling fine. I'm feeling
Yeah.
this in my body right now. And I know it's temporary and I got to move this, we call it mad monster energy through.
Yeah.
We don't ignore our feelings. It's okay to feel mad and upset. But what are we going to do with that mad monster energy? Here are a few
I love
options.
that. Mad
Yeah.
monster.
So it's a lot. It's a lot if you look at it as a lot. If you think, oh, whoa, I can adjust all these things. I can raise kind kids. I can be patient
Hmm.
with my kids. I can use these awesome strategies that all these cool child psychologists are telling me to do because I have space from the tantrum because I've created that with my mindfulness. Oh, I can be mindful. Oh, I can do all these self-care things that make me feel good, but also it creates all these ripples in my family.
Yeah.
Oh, so really, it's just me aligning with what feels good to me and what feeds my soul and my body and my health. And then it just oozes out. Cool. Sign me
Right.
up. Right.
I just have to say the amount of cold chills that I keep experiencing throughout this conversation is overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And real quick, I wanted to address some of the comments that we've got.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yes, so Camille Tyler was like, hello, my friend, someone, a Facebook user. I stream to 3 different platforms. I always tell my guests, my personal page, my DeFi Rick and Licious and You group, which is all about empowerment and inspiration and some healthy food, and then as well, YouTube. So sometimes if it says Facebook user, it's one of those other 2 platforms. But Kim Bond is on. I had her on last week. That if you haven't watched that interview, you need to go. That was, again, another one of those, I was like waves of cold chills the whole time her and I were talking. But she says, Dylan, this is her son, had a speech pathologist for 2 years. She could shake her eyeballs. I so respected her, but it costed me $200 an hour, 2 times a week, first year. And then 1 time as needed, but totally put me scrambling for money on just 1 item. He has 5 levels of disabilities. She talked about that last week, and she goes, I so respect them. So respect speech pathologists. I think I need one right now. So good with kids. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Speech therapy can be transformational. It really can. And a lot of it is empowering the parents to take ownership over some of the stuff too, and consulting and realizing that, people with differing abilities are whole human beings and they have their own purposes here. Absolutely. And if we can find ways to communicate better, it might not look like you and me communicating, but if we can find creative possibilities for communication, then they can thrive and live out their purpose as well. I mean, it's transformational for everyone.
Yes. And I love that you say that, like the communication pathway is
It doesn't have to be verbal with words or English or whatever. It's communication is so much more. It's an energy exchange. I mean, that's what it is. It's a message and energy exchange. And if you can tap into your child's or your spouse's or your friend or whoever you are seeking communication with, if you can tap in to that flow, it just opens so many doors.
So tell me a couple of the ways, like your Craftingood box. Talk a little bit about your courses and your box and how it's for parents and as well as children.
Yes. So the boxes have the same kind of template, but they are a fixed quarterly style subscription box. So think like FabFitFun or CauseBox that ships out once a season, basically on a certain day. So when you subscribe with me, you will get the next box in the flow. So speaking on that, I have a box whose orders close today, and it's the self-kindness box that gives caregivers these tools we've been talking about: a journal that's recycled, tea, some lotion from Thistle Farms. That's this fair trade mission that's so wonderful, that empowers women to find a new life and give them a second chance from addiction and human trafficking. And it's this really beautiful company. So you're getting that lotion, but also things for the kids for self-kindness. So Up Avum Crafts from Guatemala. We have the worry dolls that they've created to help start talking about feelings and worries. And then this amazing activity coloring book from Danielle Jones that's all about self-empowerment for kids. So that is in the self-kindness box that goes out on Friday, and orders close today.
So women or men, whoever's watching.
Get it in, get your orders in. Yes. So our subscription boxes go out every March, June, September, and December in time for Christmas, and have this template. So there's always a book written by an author of color. There's always a nonprofit collaboration thing, either an activity or a product. And then there's always a local kindness activity or craft. And then we repurpose a local coffee roaster's coffee burlap bags that they use for the packaging in our subscription boxes, but also as a donation activity. So you use that bag to collect donations for a local organization or to go through your items and see what you can pass on to someone else. So it's kind of that habit of giving and having that mindset of, okay, I'm going to keep this bag out and we're going to keep going through our things that maybe can be given to another family. So that's the template for every box. And in that box, you'll have different books, different activities, different product collaborations. And this year I've moved the flow a little bit. So this box today that closes today is self-kindness. Then the next box that goes out in June is all about creating a kind environment in the family. So how can you set up like a gratitude wall or a kindness jar, things like that within the family unit. Then the next box in the flow going out in September is a community outward focused box that will be more towards community involvement. And then the final box this year is going to be kindness around the world. How can we have a worldly view of being compassionate? So that's a little bit different because beforehand it was just kind of all mixed together with self-kindness and family kindness and community kindness. But now it's going to have that kind of building block effect because I've seen that in my own personal transformation. When I got self-aware and self-kind, then I was able to have better ideas within the family. We were able to serve community better and more efficiently and more sustainably, and then towards the world. So those are the subscription boxes. We also have some of the activities just as a single activity kit, which are great for birthday presents or Christmas presents or for Easter coming up, or I've done group discounts where Sunday school classes are like, give me 20. And so we'll do 20 like kind bookmark kits. So we have the single activity kits. We have digital printables too. If you're in a pinch and it's a Saturday and it's rainy and you're like, am I going to do with these kids? You can go on our website and get a digital copy of like a gratitude chain that you can print off at home and write your gratitudes. So different things like that. Then new this year, I created a digital course for caregivers to use their well-being as their best parenting tool, speaking to all of these things we've been talking about. That is currently closed. I have students going through the program right now, but I'm going to relaunch that digital course probably in August, I'm thinking.
Okay.
I used this round as kind of like a soft opening for a restaurant type of a thing. So we're going to work through some of the bugs and get the flow really good and edit it. So the next round will be even bigger and better, but you get a private Facebook group with that and more support. So it's kind of like a group coaching experience. We spoke to some of my coaching background. I am a graduate of the Institute of Integrative Nutrition too. That's one of the jigsaw puzzle pieces.
I know.
So I'm tapping into those things, and I've opened 5 spots for one-on-one coaching opportunities with me. It's once a week. I have different payment structures. You can do one session if you just have kind of an issue you want to talk about, and then you can pay per session or subscribing if you need more intensive continuing support. And then the last thing is new this year too. I got a lot of interest talking about a self-care circle. So having a meeting over Zoom like once a month, just to kind of chat through some of these things. So really informal, pop in, pop out, $15 a month, to just kind of even start thinking about that mindset shift we talked about. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, and this is not a scheme to get people to jump on and buy and, purchase the box today. But I have a question. If someone, because when I was on your website a few days ago, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So these boxes are going, because I remember you talking about that with Jen, that at the end of March, that these boxes would be going out. So if people are to get on the website today and make that purchase, will that get shipped? Okay. Because, like I said, a few days ago, I was on your website, I'm like, wow, it's perfect timing that she's on my show. Because you and I scheduled this like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it didn't even occur to me that would have been the week that I was closing orders.
And you have a special offer for my guest.
I do.
And we'll put that in the chat. But
yes, so if you use the code EMPOWERED, you get 20% off anything in the store, not just the subscriptions or the kits or this box, anything. So we'll put it in there so you can just copy and paste it really. But if you order the self-kindness box, just the box, then you will get the self-kindness box that ships out on Friday. If you get your order in by midnight tonight. Also, on that note, if you purchase a quarterly or yearly subscription by midnight tonight, the self-kindness box will be your first box that you receive. So it's a really great time to get in on a subscription because your box comes right now versus like in April, you're going to wait until June to get your first box. So The cool thing about the quarterly subscription is that it's not one of these things where it's like hanging over your head. Like every month you get something and you're like, oh shit, I didn't do last month's,
Right.
Quarterly, and it's only 5 activities. So it kind of spaces it out for you.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then when you are a customer, a subscriber from me, you get free printables every month. So I email my customers with free printables to kind of give you some fun, get you excited about the box to come. So there's not this huge lag between boxes too. You still get nurtured and have opportunities to spread kindness in the meantime.
And stay on track and be held accountable,
Well,
because it's
exactly. I
always
mean,
in the
it's a
forefront
habit.
of your mind. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
It's so easy. A girlfriend and I were just talking about this week. It's so easy to get caught up in the minutia of daily life and schedules and
Mm,
meetings and work and all that stuff. And it's easy not to serve your community other than around the holidays where it's just more in our face, right?
exactly.
But we want to raise compassionate kids that have
Yes.
compassion every day and approach that as a mindset, not just at the holidays, but
Right.
as
A
a
way of
whole year
life.
thing, a way
A
of
way of
life.
life.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and my big thing is living with intention and living on purpose, and this is such an incredible
Yeah.
incredible tool to help create that for yourself and others, like your family, your
Exactly.
children, or even spread out to others, infiltrated in the world.
Exactly,
So, yeah.
exactly. So it's just a good way to start opening kids' minds about issues that are going on in our world. I don't think we give kids enough credit to how much they're aware of all of the unrest that's been going on and
Mhm.
the pandemic and climate change and all of this kind of stuff. So it's an easy kind of approachable way to get difficult conversations going and
Yes,
get
yes.
awareness started. Obviously, it's not like an end all be all, but it is a
It's
really
a
great way to just start these conversations that will layer as they get older and they can accept more information and do bigger action.
a phenomenal tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Oh my
so.
gosh. So, I mean, yeah, you wouldn't be here if I wasn't like, well, you would be, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just,
Right.
you have no idea the out of body experience I was having while listening to the podcast with you and Jen,
I'm so
just
glad it
freaking out.
resonated with
Oh
you.
gosh.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I could talk about this for literally hours.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
We could
it's
just go
just,
on
I'm
all
so
day.
on
Yeah.
fire. No,
I
I am. I'm so on fire about this. And
know.
I think
Yeah.
it's just everybody wins. It's like we get to feed our souls. Our families get
Mm,
our best versions of us. Our communities get our
yes.
best, most
Yes.
creative versions of us. So ideas to serve your community come to you when you're whole and you're accepting and you're open and you're well. That won't when you're cut off and you're stressed. So it is a tool for parenting, but it's also a tool for community change and
Yes.
spreading compassion and kindness in our communities that so
Yes. Yes.
need it now, especially since we've all been so isolated this year too.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really hope it empowers caregivers, but
Yes.
anybody,
Anybody.
anybody.
Yeah.
So
Living your life in that place of being lit up by
mhm.
something. That's your
Well,
purpose.
that's your purpose,
It doesn't matter
whatever
if
it
you're an
is.
accountant or if you're a
Nope.
life coach like us, it is
Right.
being lit up by and that trickles out into the world. And when you're shining your light and you're being lit up by something so passionate that you hold within your heart, you're
Mhm.
giving other people that same permission to do that. And just imagine the world.
Exactly.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Rachel, I am determined that in my lifetime, the tools that some sort of curriculum, like with the tools that you're creating, it's going to be implemented in every school system around the world. And I don't care what people, if you have a lack mentality, if you live in the trance of scarcity, oh, but Stephanie, that's not possible. Oh, but Stephanie, we can't do this. We've got this type of leader over here. We got that type of, asshole leader there. We're planting seeds, and I'm determined that in my
Mhm.
lifetime that this is going to be implemented in some grand scheme of way in the entire school system in the entire world. And because I do see that, if we have the collective mindset of a specific area, we're going to have that collective reality. And it's
Right.
about shifting that paradigm. So we
Mhm.
shift the collective mindset. So everybody says, oh, I want peace in the Middle East. Oh, I want to have a better world. Well, we got to do something about it. It's not just fluff.
No, it
This can
is
be
embodiment. It is
embodiment. Thank
embodiment.
you.
It is literally being the change you wish to see in the world. I always heard that
Cold
quote and
chill.
I'm like, oh yeah, be the change. Yeah, I'm
Yay!
going to be the change. And then
Yay!
when I was actually being the change inside of myself and I saw how it be the change I wanted to see in the world, I thought, oh, this is what that means. Be the change means actually embody the things you want to see in the world, because that is what you see in the world. What you are, what you believe, you see and
Yes.
you
Yes.
create.
Yes.
So if
Thank
you
you.
see stress and lack and division and hate and all of these things and you're embodying that, that is what you're going to experience. If you are going to
Yeah.
turn your attention towards gratitude and kindness and compassion and inclusion and realizing that, oh, thank God we're all different. Thank God we're all different, but we all have the same value. We are all connected. We are all worthy of living full lives with the tools that we individually need, whatever our needs are, that's what we're going to do. So if we can raise kids, if we can be like that, then we can have that paradigm shift. We can.
Okay.
And it's contagious. Like what we do is contagious when we are aligned, when we are lit up with whatever our purpose is. And purpose doesn't equal career. It
Right.
doesn't equal that. It's those traits, those innate things about us that are uniquely us, that we are here to serve the world.
Right.
And if we can teach our kids that, oh, what an amazing gift it would be for us as caregivers, whatever form. Doesn't have to be a mom, could be a teacher, could be a community organizer, could be a babysitter, could be an aunt, whatever your caregiving role might be. What if you lived your purpose and showed your kids how to live their purpose instead of living your life through your kids, because you don't feel like you have a right to live your purpose because you're a sacrificial mom that feels guilty for doing anything for themselves.
Right.
I think what a gift to the world, but what a gift to our children to take the weight off their shoulders of having to live our purpose for us.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh, I didn't make it, playing this sports team at this realm. I'm gonna, force that on my kid because that's where
Right.
I hold my value and worth,
Mm-hmm.
instead of, well, is that what I really, really want to do? Is that what my child really, really wants to do? So,
Well, and exactly, it's like, and I feel this still. I mean, it's a
mhm,
hard mindset to shake too. It's like, oh, well, that my kids are me. They're an extension of me. Well, yes, to a certain degree, but they are their own unique souls that came here for their purpose. And so, it's unfair for me to say, oh, no, 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 you can't do that because I don't agree with that. I mean,
mhm.
as long as it's safe
It's not,
and
yeah, right. It's not,
but you know what I mean.
yeah, doing the opposite of
Like,
what you're teaching.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
But that's such a heavy burden for them to bear,
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
live our purposes for us,
right.
So I think if we can align with ourselves, they will do what we do, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Whether we like that or not,
Yeah.
right? So they're either going to yell and scream and have a victim mentality
Hmm.
and be angry and
Hmm.
exclusive and lackful, or they
And live on
will
on autopilot and just live
and
life on
live on
autopilot,
yep.
existing, just mere existing.
Yeah, just getting through the week for the weekends, just getting through
Mhm,
the day for the night, numbing
mhm,
out.
mhm.
I mean, we're having an epidemic right now with anxiety with caregivers and children,
Suicide,
and yeah, it's plaguing our communities. We have to have a paradigm shift. I mean, there's really not a choice
right.
at this point. So I'm hoping to give that mindset shift a cue with Craftingood, with the mission, with the events and the courses and stuff. But I really do want caregivers or whoever to feel supported in that and to
Mhm.
feel like they have a resource for that. Cause it can feel pretty lonely if you're the only one like, oh, I'm going to meditate. Bye. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever your self-care is, like it
Right.
feels uncomfortable at first to say, oh, honey, I won't make it to the meeting tonight because I have this class that I'm committing to for my self-development or whatever.
Yeah.
But there
Mm.
is support out there. And once you get past that hump of discomfort, then you will see on the other side, it's just so worth it. It's so worth it.
Have you seen the TED Talk, Luvi Ijaj? I know I'm not pronouncing her name correctly, but it's the title of the TED Talk is "We have to speak truth to power," or it's no, we've got to be
Mm,
uncomfortable. We got to be
yes.
comfortable being
Comfortable with discomfort.
Comfortable with
Yes.
being uncomfortable. That's what it is. I mean, there's so many gold nuggets in the talk that I'm like, what? No, it's not. That's not the title. It's we've got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
We have
that's
such a discomfort aversion. Like, we cannot stand it if we are
right. I know.
uncomfortable for
And I'm
any minute.
guilty of that as well.
Oh, me too. Me too. Nobody
Yeah.
likes it. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
be uncomfortable.
Right.
But I think if you
I
hold
want
that,
to be uncomfortable.
right, if you hold that discomfort and the outcome, if you
Mm,
have that kind of higher view of like, this is for your greatest good. I mean, gosh, I say that to my kids all the time. Look, I would much rather you watch TV right now, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
I'd rather throw you in front of a screen, but I
Mhm,
also have to keep your greatest good in my mind. And that
mhm.
means we've already had too many screens today. We got to shut it off. And
Yeah.
you can be uncomfortable with that and you can be mad, but I can also hold that boundary, and then
Absolutely.
everyone's uncomfortable for a minute, but then they move on. Like, they're not, tortured
Right.
forever because they didn't get that last show that I said no to. So it's just it's hard for all of us, especially when we're growing and those growing pains happen with all this realization. But that's why, in doing it in community and doing it with authenticity and throwing out the perfectionism and understanding that their mistakes will be made, but there's also growth opportunities in that. That's the good stuff. I mean, that's
Mhm,
what life is about. That's the
absolutely.
lusciousness. If everything was cool all the time, we wouldn't learn anything, and it wouldn't expand. The world wouldn't grow. It wouldn't
Right.
expand. We have to do the yin and the yang, right? We have to have the
Yes.
discomfort with the comfort, with the on fire too. So,
Mhm.
um, I want people to know that it's a safe it's a safe place. Just be yourself. Literally
Right.
be who you are meant to be. And it might take a while to find out. Like, if you're living in that sacrificial mindset of, I don't have
Mhm,
needs, I'm on autopilot, I go to work, I come home,
mhm.
I make dinner, I go to bed, um, you might not even know what your soul is, who
Right.
you are, what
Right.
interests you have. And some of these products help you get curious
Thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
wanted to say that. Yeah, the tools that you're teaching.
Yeah, especially in the digital course. I
Mhm.
really emphasize that in the digital course of like, get creative, get curious. Doesn't mean you're gonna be, some symphony violinist, but if you're
Unless you want to.
curious,
Yeah.
right? Unless you want to, if you're curious about the violin, then go buy yourself a secondhand violin or borrow someone or go on Facebook Marketplace and
Yeah.
find someone giving a violin away and
Right.
pluck around.
Yeah,
And
when
then
you
if you're
want
still
something, it shows
interested,
up. When you
it
really want
does.
something fervently, like when you're really it's amazing how it shows up in one way, shape, or form.
Oh, it does. It
Yeah,
does. I mean, we get what we ask for. Ask and you shall
absolutely.
receive, and you
Abso-freaking-lutely.
will.
That's it, right,
And
that's
you
right.
will. Yeah.
Rachel, this has been, again, just through the roof, riveting, cold chill waves of cold chill conversation.
Me too.
Um,
I'm so grateful to chat
yeah,
with you and
yeah,
your
I'm so
viewers
grateful.
today. I'm grateful that you've held space for me. That's an
Yes,
honor. So,
yes.
thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to put in the comments after we close the chat or after we close the broadcast every way in which you can get a hold of Rachel. Or remember, use code EMPOWERED, all caps, correct?
Yep, all caps,
All
empowered.
caps, EMPOWERED, and you'll receive 20% off on anything in the
Anything.
store. And the boxes start going out today. You still have time to get the box that's going out this particular quarter, which is the end of March. I'm so, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, like, is this not meant to be?
It's
You
meant
know?
to
Yeah,
be. Thank you so
cool.
much.
My shirt keeps getting caught on my, yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hey, I have a couple more comments.
Oh,
Kim Bond says that's cool on the boxes. She's excited about the boxes.
yeah.
Erin Graham says, I love her choice of words to her children. Stealing. Yes. Erin, go to the website, girl. 20% off on anything in the store. Very, very affordable. There's so many different ways to work with Rachel. Erin's got two of the most adorable little girls. And
Oh.
oh, yeah, they're just so sweet. Guys, again, if you're watching this on the replay, code EMPOWERED, all caps, 20% off anything in the store. So many ways to work with Rachel. I'm so grateful to everyone who was on today, who was commenting, who was, and just engaged, who was, see the worth and the value for yourself. You're worthy. You are enough. You're more than plenty. Understand that. Know that. Embody what you want to see in the world. You must be what you want to attract, what you want to see in the world.
Amen.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right, guys. Till next Wednesday. Hey, and remember, join Siobhan and I tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for food therapy. We are making these amazing poke bowls. I am
Oh
through the roof.
gosh, that's my favorite thing.
Oh, God, I'm
I
so
never
excited.
get sick of those.
Yeah, I know. They're so good. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Happy
you.
Wednesday. You stay. Don't leave.